Not a lot to break down in this game. A's got their butts kicked. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Okay, I'll go into more detail.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, A's fans, and welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast where we talk about your Oakland A's all year long, whether they're playing in Oakland, Sacramento, Kansas City, or Philadelphia. We're going to cover them. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. I've been a baseball podcaster for a very long time, and this is my sixth full season here at the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Normally, I'm the host right here. Has this red light always been there? Yeah, I just noticed that right now. Ooh, maybe it's Hal. I usually host Locked On MLB, and I still host Locked On MLB, but I also host Locked On A. So you get 5 episodes with your pal Sully every single week. And this particular episode of Locked On A's is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking. Yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Can make you a fan of even going to Las Vegas. By the way, some preview of a couple of episodes I'm going to be doing. I am going to be attending a couple A's games, and I'm going to be going to River Cats game. I'm going to be checking out to see where they're going to play. And we're going to also talk to some people who are, big A's fans and get some of their thoughts of the upcoming series and everything like that, because we're really approaching. The All-Star break is coming up in a few days. The trade deadline is probably going to pick the carcass of the team, and then we're going to go into August and September. We're only a few weeks away from August and the final 2 months of the Oakland A's, and the final couple weeks of the A's, they're going to be a little bit like Schrodinger's cat, because they're not going to be the Oakland A's anymore, but they're not going to be the Sacramento. They will be a team that will play their final game in Oakland, and it'll be an interesting time emotionally if you're an A's fan to try to figure out what to do. I can't stress this to you enough. Don't deny yourself pleasure. Go to A's games this summer. I've been to a few already. I'm going to go to a few more. Go to some A's games. Enjoy them. Have fun. They're not going to be there next year. And, we can get all the sell T-shirts we want. They're not selling the team. They're not playing here next year. And so with that in mind, let's just experience some fun. Even if they don't win, chances are they're not going to. You may not have noticed they've lost a bunch of games. But don't deny yourself pleasure. Don't deny yourself fun. And don't necessarily make any rash, proud pronouncements of how you're going to handle your fandom from now on. I'll never follow the team again. I'll never watch baseball again. I've heard that my whole life. So many people mentioned it. I remember the 94 strike. I'm old enough to remember the 94 strike and the 95 lockout. And a lot of people were saying, I'm never watching baseball again. Never again. And then I noticed that they were following the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire chase pretty closely. Just 3 years later, I thought, wait a minute, I thought you said you're never going to follow baseball again. You don't get anything if you deny yourself pleasure. You're not going to stick it to the Fishers by sitting it out. So just try to enjoy some games. Not a lot, if you're an A's fan, to enjoy about what happened tonight at Fenway Park. I've always said one of the things the A's have to look out for is the big inning. And they have to get the big inning, not make dumb mistakes, and try to score in ways other than a solo home run. Well, they didn't make many dumb mistakes today. I'll grant you that. They played an errorless game. And Rooker wound up getting a stolen base. There you go. I'm trying to think of some positives. Hamilton got picked off by Medina. That was pretty cool. Schulman got on base twice. And Rooker, as I mentioned, he walked and stole a base. And Ohtani's got struck out 2 in the 8th. There you go. That's about all the positive things that happened to the A's today, who did not score in the first inning, and promptly Hamilton, who is become a key member of this Red Sox team, unexpectedly, David Hamilton has become a big time contributor at second base, and he got two more hits today, including a double, and the first inning double, and put two runners on, that put two runners in scoring position. And then Yoshida got the single to make it 2-0, and Wilyer Abreu doubled. I mean, a lot of players on this Red Sox team who people were not even counting on. This was Yoshida's night. Yoshida stunned the Yankees with a game-time home run in the ninth the other day, and today he beat the A's like a rented mule. He got a 2-run double, a 2-run home run. Wong got on base 3 times, including a home run. Abreu went 3 for 4 with a double and a single, 2 runs batted in. Hamilton got 2 hits. One of the only people who really Jared Duran walked. No, he didn't steal a base, but he got on base and he scored a run. I thought he stole a base. Maybe Connor Wong scored 3 runs. Oddly, the only 2 people who didn't really contribute to the attack were O'Neill and Devers. But and Houck was throwing a no-hitter deep into the game, and Anderson came in. And actually, I love 3-inning saves. I really do. I think they're fun. Anderson pitched the final 3 innings, got his 3rd save of the year, and there you go. It was just the A's got their butts handed to them. It was, as my mom would say, the final score was a lot to not enough. There's all sorts of things we could say about it. And if you're an A's fan, it's disappointing in a way, because the A's scored a pile of runs in the first game, but then they got away, and then they tried to claw back, and they played a terrific game yesterday. And there's a chance to win a series against a solid contending team like Boston. Now, give Boston credit. They dusted themselves off after a tough loss yesterday and realized they were staring at a potential series loss at home to a team that you're not supposed to lose to. And they played about as complete a game as you could hope for. And so, give them credit. Give them credit, because they have a big series that they're facing off to after this, because the Red Sox are barely hanging on to a playoff spot, and their main competitor for that 3rd wildcard spot is Kansas City. So there was a real chance the Red Sox could have been looking forward to KC and overlooked the A's. Well, it looked like they may have been able to do that, but this was not the case. However, in the series we have coming up, there's a chance for the opposite, that a team made a huge statement series, won a huge statement series, are about to coast to the All-Star game, and may overlook the A's. And if the A's want to have any hope for playing the role of spoilers, that's pretty much exactly what they have to do, and hope that you can catch a player or two or a team or two napping, thinking this is going to be an easy win. This episode of Locked On A's is brought to you by Booking.com or Booking. Yeah. Look, I had a terrific baseball trip earlier this summer. It was actually one of my favorite trips I've ever taken. I flew to Buffalo, and don't laugh, Buffalo is a beautiful city. Buffalo was lovely, and I had a great hotel in downtown Buffalo, went to see the Buffalo Bisons play. Then I went to Syracuse, and I saw the Syracuse Mets play. And then I went to Cooperstown, had a fabulous time there. And each stop, I had a great place to stay, thanks to Booking.com. They have all sorts of different hotels, lodges, rentals, bed and breakfasts. Let me tell you about my trip. In Buffalo, I stayed in a fabulous hotel right downtown. Buffalo's got a beautiful downtown, and I stayed right downtown in Buffalo. Then off to Syracuse, nice, safe hotel nearby the college campus. Off I went to Cooperstown, a lovely bed and breakfast, walking distance to the lake and to the Baseball Hall of Fame. They have it all, and it's all there at booking.com. Let me tell you something. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on booking.com, on the site, or at the booking.com app. Booking.com, or as I like to say, booking.yeah. Pride, passion, patience, drive. That's the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performances: superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and the prices that you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fits are available for U.S. customers only. eBay Motors. Beep, beep. Hey, where is your hub for all your sporting news and all your sports information? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you to every day to bring you the biggest stories in all of sports. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube and the free Amazon Fire TV channel app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Now, the A's are going from Boston to Philadelphia in a wonderful trip that I've lived in Massachusetts for a long time, and I've been to Philadelphia a bunch. In fact, I wish I had booking.com the last time I went to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a fabulous city, and I'm a huge Revolutionary War buff. I'm a big, big fan of reading about the American Revolution and everything like that. So naturally, Boston and Philadelphia are two key places for your pal Sully. The last time I was there, not only did I go to a game at Citizens Bank Ballpark, but I went to all the different places where the Phillies and the A's used to play in Philadelphia. I'll get to that a little bit at the end. I posted that video on Locked On MLB, and maybe I'll repost it here. I don't know. Maybe post in the comments if you have never seen that video. I may post the link up. But there is that wonderful connection between the A's and the city of Philadelphia, and it's one. As I said in the third segment, we'll discuss why we should spend our time celebrating it, especially if you're a fan of Oakland or a resident of the East Bay. Now, the Philadelphia Phillies, in case you have been living under a rock, are pretty good this year. How good are they right now? Well, they have a .656 winning percentage. Do you know what team has a better winning percentage to that? None in the major leagues. They are 61-31. They are one win away from being 30 games above 500. And keep in mind, they are in a division with the Atlanta Braves and the Mets. By the way, the Mets are now a playoff team. If you go over to Locked On MLB, you'll start to hear me eating a little bit of crow about that, because I've not been bad-mouthing the Mets. I just don't think they have a realistic shot, but they may be proving me wrong. Well, the Phillies are trying to bust open a double-digit lead in the division. They have one thing on their mind right now. It's not to make the playoffs. It's not to have a nice September. It's to win a World Series championship. For Bryce Harper, to have him win a title and therefore completely justify that massive contract, and to show that they are the kings of the mountain in the National League. And they just had a gigantic series that was a statement series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers and the Phillies are kind of the consensus picks for the two biggest star-studded teams to possibly win the World Series, or at least represent the National League in the World Series. The Dodgers signed huge, huge stars. Philadelphia signed huge stars. Both of them been in the World Series recently. Phillies have been in the World Series more recently. By the way, have you noticed that the Dodgers are only one game ahead of the Milwaukee Brewers at this point? So this notion of the Dodgers being the absolute best team in baseball may not be the case. But either way, why am I talking about the Dodgers-Phillies series? I'll tell you exactly why. It was a big, huge emotional series for the Philadelphia Phillies, who put their flag in the mountain right there to say, we're the best. And they swept the Dodgers. And they know they have the easy A's and then, drift into port to have a break at the All-Star game. This is exactly the type of series that you may catch a great team potentially being overly confident. Now, it didn't work. I was hoping that the Red Sox may be looking ahead to Kansas City and overlooking the A's. And when they fell behind early in game one and the A's won game two, it put the Red Sox in a situation where they had to win this one. It was not such an easy win, not a sweep. Well, as it turned out, they won the series. Now the Dodgers have been swept by the Phillies. The Phillies have shown they're the best. And there's this great sense of euphoria amongst Philadelphia Phillies. All they got to do is play the A's and then they get a break. So maybe, just maybe, this is the type of game where the A's can sneak one in. Now, tomorrow, Harris is pitching against Suarez. Suarez is a really good pitcher, having a very good year. But Harris is pretty good. Harris has shown he could pitch very well. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see an Phillies team that could give you a potential little bit of a letdown. Am I being hopeful? Absolutely I am. Why? Because the A's have one of the worst records in baseball, and they're going to play the Philadelphia Phillies in their home park. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to say, oh, they're going to be swept? What are we doing? Make them win. Put them in a position. In a way, they made the Red Sox have to show up for this final game. When you have teams that are filled with veterans or teams that are trying to win, a lot of times you may see them win those first two games and then coast in the final one. Make them have to play that third game. Win game one. Put the Phillies on their heels. Have them say, oh, crap, I forgot. We're so high on the Dodgers series. I mean, I am grasping straws here, but you know what? Let's make this series fun. Let's put the Phillies on their heels. Let's come right out and make them say, oh, man, I didn't realize this team was here to play. And if nothing else, the Phillies need outfielders, and they're staring at Brent Rooker. So if nothing else, A's, have Rooker play his guts out, and he may wind up just staying in Philadelphia. Well, the A's didn't stay in Philadelphia when they played there. But I think it's important that we pay tribute to the teams that did, because those teams won. They won for this franchise. And pretty soon, the teams that we all love from the East Bay may join these phantom titles. We here at Locked On A's, we're proud of the fact that we cover the team all year long, off-season, draft, spring training, and this ridiculous move to Sacramento. It's year-round. But you also see year-round collection seasons. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A-plus rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require planning, or finally hit the parlay this season and need help correctly filing, you need to call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. Be sure to mention Locked On A's at checkout, and you'll receive a $250 discount on their services. tnusa.com. That's Tax Network USA. Let them go to bat for you. You think I'm stylish, don't you? The clothes I wear, Makes me feel confident. Makes me look good. All right, maybe not this Seattle Pilot shirt, but you got a great boost of confidence. We have an outfit that makes you look good. That's what I get with Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your style, size, and budget. They do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. And with a professional stylist, they help you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, my style, my budget preference. I order boxes when I want, how I want. No subscription required. They send 5 just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and pro style advice. I keep what works and I send the rest back. My stylist always sends me the right pieces, and the fit is on point. It's like they have ESP. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. Do you get me? They get me. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. I don't like to shop, but they save me that time and effort. Plus, I get outfits that make me look good and feel good. And if you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges, they're always for free. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Now's the best time to get started. StitchFix.com/MLB and get $100 off. That's $25 off your first 4 fixes for a limited time only. That's StitchFix.com/MLB for $100 off. StitchFix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of sign-up. Offer does not include kid fixes. StitchFix.com/MLB. Hey, this is a reminder that Locked On has begun the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and it's now available on the Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Day is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channel app. Hey, I know I've mentioned this before, but when the A's moved from Oakland, suddenly the titles that were won in Oakland will be kind of phantom titles. They'll be for fan bases that remember them, but the A's won't be here, and future generations won't celebrate them. Other teams that have stuck around for a long time still have their championship banners, not just the Yankees and all the titles they won in the 20s and the 30s and 40s. The Cardinals do the same thing. The Red Sox do the same thing. The Tigers do the same thing. Cincinnati, Philadelphia. Well, Philadelphia didn't win until the Phillies didn't win until 1980. But the Pirates have the 09 and 1925 titles having banners flying in their ballpark and celebrating the likes of Pie Traynor and Honus Wagner. And the titles that were won by the A's are not going to be flying anywhere. They'll be, maybe if they move to Sacramento, if they go to Las Vegas, they'll put them up there, but there'll be these vague reminders of their past. How often have you gone to the Oakland Coliseum and see the blue circles where they say 1910, 1912, 1913, 1929, 1930? How often do you think about those teams? How often do those teams even register that those were A's champions? It certainly doesn't register for the people in Philadelphia because the A's haven't been there since the mid-50s. And they have a strong affection for 1980 and 2008. Sure, they have a statue for Connie Mack outside, but some of the greatest figures in the history of Philadelphia baseball have faded away into obscurity in ways that they haven't for the Pirates or Cardinals or Yankees or Red Sox. You take a look, the first A's championship was 1910. The 1910 A's. Now, the A's had lost the pennant, or lost the World Series in 1905 to the Giants, and the Giants became a frequent competitor against the A's, whether it was in New York or in San Francisco. But the A's started Chief Bender in Game 1 against the Chicago Cub team. The A's had the better pitching. The Cubs had the better hitting. The Cubs had the famous Evers to Tinker to Chance infield, and the A's had the likes, and the Cubs had the likes of Three Finger Band and Orval Overall. That's the dude's name. Chief Bender, he was Native American. Naturally, was named Chief. He's in the Hall of Fame. Got the start in Game 1, and it was Hank and Home Run Baker, Frank Home Run Baker, got an infield single, which got the part of the scoring going there. And the A's wound up winning that World Series Game 1, 4-1. The A's blew the doors off the dump in Game 2 with three-finger Mordecai Brown. let up 3 times as many runs as he had fingers on that hand. Final score was 9-3. Too soon for that. Then the A's went to West Side Park in Chicago. They didn't play in Wrigley Field yet. There was no Wrigley Field yet. In fact, Wrigley Field was originally Wegman Park. It was created for a third rival league. But either way, Jack Combs got the start. And I love the fact that there was a controversial home run. Danny Murphy, good Irish man, hit a 3-run home run that helped put the A's ahead. And Frank Chance, who was the manager of the Cubs, was ejected because he said it wasn't a home run, didn't clear the fence. And there was no instant replay. Hell, there was barely film in 1910. I love thinking back when you heard there was an argument, there was a call, this or the other thing. We will never know if Danny Murphy's home run cleared the fence. There's so many controversial things in the history of baseball where there was a big argument with the umpire and a blown call here, a blown call there. We have no clue if some of the World Series of the past were won by teams they had no business winning them. But either way, the A's wound up taking a 3-0 lead. Now, in Game 4, also at West Side Park in Chicago, the A's were 3 outs away from clinching their first ever World Series title. And Frank Chance got a big hit, got hit by a pitch. And then, but again, there was an argument that he wasn't hit by the pitch. And so instead, he took a swing and hit a game-tying triple in the bottom of the 9th. And the A's wound up losing the game in 10 innings when Jimmy Sheckard of the Cubs hit a walk-off hit. So now, could the Cubs be the first team to come back from a 3-0 deficit? The answer is no, because Three-Finger Brown lost again. Jack Combs got his third. There was only 5 games in the series, and Jack Combs won 3 of them. And it was, again, there was a situation where Topsy Hartzell, who was a left fielder for the A's, stole a base, was called safe, and the Cubs protested. But he continued to be called safe. And that 8th inning, the A's rallied for 5 runs. So what was a 2-1 lead suddenly became a 7-1 lead. And they held on for a 7-2 victory. And the A's defeated the Cubs 4-1 at West Side Park. That's where the Cubs played. It's now, the site of West Side Park is now a university hospital. The site of Shibe Park, where the A's played, is now a mega church in Philadelphia. And the Cubs fans thought, well, we lost that World Series, but we're bound to win another one soon. And they did in 2016. But the A's won their first ever title. Connie Mack was a World Series winning manager. And there's online, there's I've seen a couple of images of the souvenir book, which is incredible because they have an elephant and a bear, a photorealistic elephant and a photorealistic bear. Even back then, the elephant was the logo for the A's. Why weren't they called the Elephants? It's such a more interesting name. But there you go. The 1910 World Series, the first World Series won by an A's team, a Philadelphia A's team. But soon that will mean as much to fans as an Oakland A's championship, except we have better images of the plays, and we'll see which calls were actually blown. Well, hopefully there won't be any blown calls as the A's return to Philadelphia, go back to their roots, and hopefully catch the Phillies napping. So follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter, whatever it's called now. And follow me. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. And make sure you also follow Locked On MLB, where you get to have twice the shows with me. And we all know how fun that is. So good luck in Philadelphia, and then it'll be the All-Star break. And they can't lose any games then. This has been Locked On A's. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.